Hi, this is Andy Olson from Glow Lighting, and this is another episode of Lightcraft. Today we're still talking about the Luminair software, but today actually we're adding a couple of rainbow tubes, which is an RGB AW fixture. It's sort of a Kino tube replacement. You can actually take your old Kino tubes out, snap these into your Kino housing, or hold on to them individually, or however you want to do it, and then control them either manually or through Luminair through wireless Lumen radio signal. So right in front of me now I have actually a tube down in front, and then I have two tubes off to my left. One of them is in white light mode, and that's what's lighting me, and the other one's not on quite yet, but we'll turn that on when we go into the software. So we're going to actually add the three rainbows and then see how Luminair populates the screen and how Luminair then crossfades from color to white light to whatever sort of light you're looking for. So let's just turn this off for now. Let's now add, let's now go to another project. We're going to create a project called Rainbow, which I already created, but I haven't actually added anything to it. So here's basically a new project window, and what we're going to do is add. And the screen pops up. You're probably familiar with this if you've seen any of the other episodes. So we're going to tap on DMX Fixture, and we're going to select Profile, and then in search we're just going to type in Rainbow, search. So these are the DMX profiles that come up. I've actually done quite a bit of research on which profile is best. And I found that profile 11 gives you the most options, and it gives you pretty much everything the rainbow tube has. So this is the screen that pops up when you've added a rainbow. So now the only problem right now is I have not set the DMX address for this light. So what I need to do is to edit the fixture. You'll notice up here on the top left, Q rainbow RGBX profile 11 times 1. If we tap on that, the screen comes up and it says edit. And now to the top left also it says channel 2. Well, I just know that that rainbow tube is addressed to DMX channel 201. So I'm going to tap and type in 201, hit OK, and then if I bring up the intensity, just the intensity, no color information yet. We're now seeing if in fact that is addressed properly. It is. It's bringing up the first channel, which is just intensity. Let's just go over the faders here. And the first fader is intensity. Let's just bring that pretty much all the way up. The second fader is your color temperature. And so now I'm faded all the way up intensity on that, and now I'm at roughly 5600 Kelvin. Although I've metered these rainbow tubes and they're not quite 5600, they're more like 52 or 5000 Kelvin. Let's just see if I can get them a little further towards the blue. That's where it is. So you see that little box right there above the CCT, right there, that blue fader. That then opens up a separate slider bar, and this is where you adjust your color temperature. Now, we did talk about that in another episode, but it's fairly easy to go over that, and it's just to say that if you want to know your full range of color temperature, you're going to need to set this bar all the way to the right. And turns out if you tap on information over here, it pops up a window that says low temp and high temp. And with the rainbow tube, it looks like it sets at a low temp at 2000 Kelvin and high temp at 6000 Kelvin. So let's just close that window out. Okay, now your next fader here is a plus or minus, and it's set right in the middle at 128, between 0 and 255. So if you do deviate from that, you're going to be adding green as you go up, and then if you come below that, you're going to be adding magenta. But if you hit the bottom, it zeroes it out again. So it turns out your 128, if you sit at 128, then you have no color correction. And also, if you sit at 0, you have no color correction. I'd probably leave that at 0 just to avoid confusion. Now, this is where the rainbow tube gets just a little bit more complicated than some other lights. Because it has effects built in, like a sky panel, it's built into the profiles here. So if we use the crossfade, what's happening is the crossfade is actually crossfading from one of these circles, either the left circle or the right circle. So let's modify those circles. Let's tap on the left one. I'm going to bring the luminance up on that. I'm going to go all the way to the blue mode on it. Now let's tap on the right circle above the color bar. And then I'm going to bring that over to the red side, just so we can see the effects that crossfade does. Tapping on edit, getting rid of that. So now, if I crossfade, I'm crossfading from essentially what is that blue channel. I'm crossfading up to that blue channel. Now here's kind of a tricky part, and that is that if I crossfade down, I'm essentially crossfading to white light because my color bar is not all the way up, or my color fader is not all the way up. Now if I bring my color fader up to all the way to the top, now when I crossfade, I'm actually going to be crossfading to red. So I bring crossfade up, crossfade to red. Okay? So crossfade back down, and crossfading back to white light. So you do crossfade, but then what do you crossfade to? You crossfade to the blue side by having the color fader down, or do you crossfade to the red side because the color fader is up? So it's a little tricky right there. I'd recommend spending some time on that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is effects rate, and effect size. So as you fade your FX fader up, you're going to find the pre-built effects built into the rainbows. So we've got sort of a paparazzi or sort of a lightning effect, and then I believe there's a fire effect or firelight kind of effect, and then of course we run into things like cop cars. Everybody's got to have the cop lights effect, I guess. And then we go to a scrolling effect. So if we just stayed on like this sort of fire effect, with the effects rate, we'd be affecting sort of how fast or how slow that effect is, the transition rate between the different sides or the sizes of the effect. The effect rate comes up, and then effect size is how much variation there is in terms of intensity values.